Well, hello, Sharifa.
Hi, Holly.
Yeah, so great to be back in conversation with you here in our Zoom rooms. And just to lead in, I work with parents of young children, and you work with parents and teachers and bring so much to so many people. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to really um, delve into the topic of self-care. And it's something that I work with myself on a great deal and have been doing so. And I work to share tools with parents that come to the programs that I bring here in Carbondale, based out of the Waldorf School on the Roaring Fork, or perhaps a library, or perhaps just a one-on-one check-in at a coffee shop. So I'm excited to hear some of what you have been working on and sharing with some of your students who are adults. And I just want to come back to this tool that you taught me a number of years ago when we first met, which is this heart breathing. And on this YouTube channel that I've created, there is a little demo of that. But you're sort of the the goddess of the heart. I really so respect and appreciate the work that you've done and how you've been able to articulate, message, explain, teach many people, all in the service of taking care of yourself so you can be a joyful servant to those in your care. So with that said, I want to just pass it off to you and have a conversation, and we'll see how it goes.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Holly. Yes, and we will talk a little bit about the heart breathing, and I'm glad that it's on your YouTube channel. So if this is new to someone, they can, go there. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say what we're going to do today is look at different ways that we take care of ourselves. And so there will be many ideas that come toward you. And I would really recommend that you choose one. You could be over enthusiastic and say, I'm going to write down all 12 and I'm going to do them all. And then we can't do that. And so, we feel like a failure. So just one. And then let that stay with it. Stay with it for 3 weeks. Rudolf Steiner would encourage us to stay with it for 42 repetitions. And that's a magic number that we'll go into another time. But at least for 3 weeks. And when that is deeply in your body and in your soul, then choose one more. But go slowly and let each one really sink in, and then build. We build on our successes. So what we're going to talk about today, the first little piece is self-care. The second piece is self-speech, how it is that we talk to ourselves. And the third piece is self-trust. How do we learn to trust ourselves, to trust this deep inner knowing? So those are the main pieces. And then along toward the end, we'll talk about the necessity, the magic of joy.
That sounds amazing. And I just had this little wish pop in. What if this little quick video, this little conversation where you offer these things, what if it went viral?
I would
and,
love
and,
it.
and what if, like, all parents, like, were in better shape and they worried less, and they, I just thank you so much.
Yes, and it's why you do the work that you do, and why I do the work that I do, is that wish,
Yeah,
that parents and children and families, can settle down and be comfortable. Yeah. So self-care. Oh, the other thing that I want to tell you is that all of the things that all the little tidbits that I'll be offering you today, they're all based in neuroscience. And I won't go into the science of it because then we'd be here for hours. But each little piece has studies and scientific support behind it. So, the first thing that I would say about self care is sleep. And I know that for parents, it is so like sleep deprivation is sort of the nature of the beast. And so I would say anytime that your children are asleep, sleep. If they finally have gone down for nap and you want to wash the dishes, sleep first. Just lie down and close your eyes for 5 minutes. The dishes will still be there. So sleep. And I'll tell you a little magic that I learned actually from my son and his wife and their children. Sleep training, and you can look it up online, but the gist of it is when the children are young, when they're babies, you basically, as they're going to bed, you do all of the nice things that we do to put the child to bed. And then you lay the baby down while they're awake and you kiss and hug and I love you and good night. And you walk out of the door. And then the baby cries. And in 1 minute, you go back in and you do all of it again. I love you. You walk out, the baby cries. You wait 2 minutes. You do this, you do it 3 minutes. And what the child learns is that you are going to come back because you always do. And as the increment gets longer and longer, they're more able to just relax into waiting for you. And then accidentally they fall asleep. Oh, sleep training is, and I know it doesn't work for all children. So if you try it and it doesn't work, it's because it just didn't work for your child. But for them, it was a complete lifesaver. And naps are so crucial. And Holly will talk to you about the particulars of how it is that we arrange a lovely nap for our child. And again, it's that kind of training. It's that kind of, we don't have to lie down with them. We don't have to be, maybe when they're tiny, close to them, but we can step back a little bit. So sleep, take care of yourself by sleeping, number one. Number two, take care of yourself by going outdoors. A wonderful woman that Holly and I are both familiar with, a teacher of both of ours, is Hella Heckman, and she lives in Denmark, and she has a program that is 90% outdoors, and it's cold in Denmark. And she says in her very thick accent, there is no such thing as bad weather. There is just bad clothing. So prepare yourself and prepare your child to be outdoors and go outdoors. And you don't have to have a big agenda. The outdoors is the agenda. It is the agenda for your child. If outdoors is, a big backyard, lovely. If it's a small backyard, lovely. If it's a patio with some plants on it, lovely. If it's a screened in porch with some plants, just be out in the elements. I can't tell you, we don't have time to talk about the electromagnetic field of the earth. And when we are in nature, our own electromagnetic field becomes entrained to the earth's. We were raised with this, we grew, we evolved with this entrainment of the earth. So go outdoors, not just once a day, go out numbers of times with your children. And that the earth itself is the agenda. It gives you a break. You get to just be there and be held in the arms of the earth, and your child will bring some little piece of gravel for you to admire. So go outdoors. Relax consciously. Now, I know that this sounds like, how do I have time to relax consciously? But a way that a means that of relaxation that relaxes the whole body, that we don't have to close our eyes for, is simple, repetitive activities. So if you don't know how to knit, Holly can teach you. So knitting, just the simple rhythmic activity of knitting. This is conscious relaxation. There's all sorts of studies of knitters' brains and what happens in their brains. Folding laundry. These are things you have to do anyway. Washing the dishes by hand in the warm water. Sweeping the floor. These are simple rhythmic activities. And if we take them as chores, now I have to wash the dishes. Now that's very different than if I say, now I get to take care of myself and I can wash this dish. Now I get to stand with beautiful posture and I get to sweep. Your child will be there and they'll be doing this with all that you've swept up, but you just stay with the relaxation. And that brings us right in to the next simple rhythmic activity that we do all day long, and that is breathing.
Yeah.
Just breathing. It's just this breathing in, breathing out. We do this all day long if we can only turn our attention toward this breath. We are always being rocked by the breath. And when everything is sort of discombobulated, there's too much going on, we tend to follow all the things that are going on. And if we can train ourselves to turn here, one breath, one big breath in, big breath out, changes. Try it again and again. It changes the way everything looks.
Could I just pause? Can we pause for a second? I just wanted to say that I just so appreciate these, just these simple, all the things that you're mentioning are just, they're right there for us. It's this awareness piece and it's having the wherewithal to just pause and sort of reset, to say, instead of, oh, I've got to fold the laundry, but oh, if I fold the laundry, it could actually help me. And by helping me, it's helping my child calm down, stay centered. I just love that you're using something like the laundry or the dishes, because those are a reality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Yeah.
don't have to get out the yoga mat and you don't
Right.
have to clear the toys out and you don't have to put on your yoga clothes,
Right.
and you don't have to close your eyes. I mean,
Right.
who has to close their eyes when they're little children? You close your eyes when they're sleeping.
Right.
You sleep, you close your eyes when they're sleeping. Right. So these are rhythmic activities that we can do. And the most essential one, and the one that is always handy, you don't have to reach for the broom because your breath is right here. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunity to do this with Holly, to go to that YouTube channel and just see very simple steps to finding our way here. And again, these are all things that we do with our eyes wide open. Let's see. Oh, here is a wonderful thing that I just learned yesterday, and that is a way that relaxes the whole body, top to bottom. Well, singing is amazing. I mean, there's all this research on what happens when you sing, but this was something I was not aware of. And that is that humming is a little bit different, because when we hum, the sound box is inside of our head and our head is all bones, right? And so the bones of the head are very, very slightly vibrating. And all, this bone's connected to that bone, it's all connected. And so all the bones in the body have this slight vibration, and that vibration helps tension to be released. And so just humming, is another thing that you've got right here with you all the time. And another couple of things that are always available is big breath in, big yawn, big yawn. If it's a fake yawn, it still works. A big yawn. Oh, it's hard to even make it fake, because as soon as you're in it, your whole body says, oh, I remember this. Yawning is so healthy in every way. Yawning feeds the brain. Yawning brings more blood to the brain. And smiling, even if it's a fake smile. I want to show you this book that this book is about 10 years old. How God Changes Your Brain.
Wow.
And it's more about meditation. They do talk about they talk about spiritual practice and also prayer, and they're scientists. These are scientists that are telling us this. And they talk about the ways that worldwide people who have practices of prayers or meditation, the states of consciousness that are created by this. And they've done mountains and mountains of study on this. And so many of these little simple things that I'm telling you I have learned here from this book. It's a big book to read, but it's fabulous. And there is one chapter that is called Finding Serenity. That's the one that has lists of these simple things that we can do. So that's how we take care of our body. We can talk about how it is that we take care of our consciousness or our heart. Do you have any thoughts that you would like to add, Holly, before we move on to self-speech?
No, I just what I notice in my body as I listen to what you're offering is I can feel in my body a settling down, and sort of like more of an ease coming in. And so, yeah, I just appreciate what you're bringing, and why don't you just keep on rolling?
Okay. And one thing that's terrific, and these scientists tell us this, is that all of this is contagious. It's exactly what
Yes.
you said. It's absolutely contagious. The people that we are with can feel this. Our whole vibratory field changes, and the people who we are with, even on a screen,
Yeah.
we affect each other,
Yeah.
in that kind of way. And so this kind of self-care is contagious. And we by taking care of ourselves, we are taking care of those we love.
Yes.
So self-speech is lots and lots of research done about self-speech, how it is that we talk to ourselves. Self-speech arises in the child sometime around age 4. And we parents, the way we talk to ourselves, and teachers, the way we talk to ourselves will be reflected in the way we speak to the children, and they will learn to talk to themselves the way we speak to ourselves. So it's so crucial for us to notice the way that we talk to ourselves. So I'm just going to read you a little something. I have a class that I'm teaching, and I just sent this little note to them. So let's focus on our own self-talk or inner speech. The most crucial thing to practice is to speak kindly and encouragingly to ourselves. Notice this inner voice. If you hear criticism, sarcasm, self-pity, or any other kind of negative inner language, simply interrupt the flow. You can do this. You hear it and you say, oops, and you simply stop this flow. Take a couple of deep breaths, breath through the heart, yawn, sigh, smile. It may feel like a fake smile to you, but your body thinks it's a real smile, and so does your brain. So smile. And now say something positive to yourself. So here you've had this negative thing, you've just told yourself something negative, and now you say something like, you did the very best that you could do in that situation. And you can try again tomorrow. That's going to come up and we're going to do it better. And then you think a little bit. Tomorrow, when my child does this or that, what I'm going to do is such and such, right? So you just instruct yourself. You can, when you're stressed and you notice that you're hurrying or just feeling overwhelmed, you can say to yourself, you're doing just fine. You're doing the best you can possibly do. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just one foot, and let the big picture take care of itself. You just say this to yourself. You're good. You're fine. Slow down. This is a huge, huge secret. When you're feeling rushed, slow down. You won't go slower, but you will feel calmer. So you just slow down, one foot in front of the other, and focus on what you're doing. When your doubting mind steps in and says, this inner speech stuff is a bunch of rubbish, then you reply to yourself, okay, well, we are going to suspend doubt and we are going to keep trying this for 3 weeks and then we will reassess, right? So your doubting mind is going to come in and then you already have a reply ready for it. You say, well, that's your opinion. And we're doing this now. When we talk kindly to ourselves, it reduces stress hormones and it sets up the entire brain and our whole physiology. Our whole being is set up for well-being. In this way, we grow closer to Rudolf Steiner's ideal, and that is that we be a person worthy of our child's imitation. So when we hear that this is one of the things that Rudolf Steiner, the most important thing he said that the people who work with children, who live with children, is that we be a person worthy of imitation. I mean, that's enough to sort of strike terror in your soul, right? Okay, so these are all ways that we can be worthy of imitation. We take care of our body. We take care of our physical self. We rest. We go outside and we take care of our emotional self. We're nice to ourselves.
Yeah. I just, everything you're saying, it just is really resonating with me. And I remember I was exploring this topic of self-care years ago, whether I was talking to a therapist or reading a self-help book, I don't remember. But the thing that struck me was the statement that we would never talk to our friends the way we talk to ourselves. And there was something about that simple statement and the timing in which I got to read that statement, where it just was a game changer for me. So yeah, that just, I just really appreciate that you brought that point. And then the other thing is that it sounds like what we're doing is, it's like we're befriending ourselves as opposed to fighting ourselves. Or you could say we're parenting ourselves, we're loving ourselves the way we love our children unconditionally. So it's like, can we take that warm compress that we will apply, we'll give to our child without a thought? Can we apply that to the self? And that just, it just sounds like that's what you're describing. And I really appreciate you bringing it in the ways that you are, because it's very simple, but it's very profound.
Very profound, very profound. And I think that sometimes when people begin working with this inner speech and really training ourselves to talk nicely to ourselves, that what arises is a sense of unworthiness. And so what would we do if our child, felt like they're not good enough? We would hold them, we would rock them. We would say, oh, you're the best. How could I live my life without you? We would say anything to help the child feel worthy. And so we can do that to ourselves. When we hear ourselves talk bad, and then the one that says, I'm not worthy, then we just say, oh, honey.
Honey.
It's like, So self-speech, talk nicely to ourselves. Stay with it. Stay with it. And don't let the doubting mind say, this isn't worth it, or I'm just pretending. That's the other thing. It's important to know that if we're doing something that's good for us and we're actually just pretending, it's only the critical mind that knows we're pretending. The brain thinks it's for real. The body, the muscles, the heart, the hormones, everything inside of us thinks it's for real. And guess what? If it thinks it's for real, then the whole mechanism is going to start acting like it's for real. And then in a minute or so, it actually is real.
Yeah,
We think that change has to come, like we have to do all this change in this invisible sphere, and then it will radiate toward the outside. That is true. But the other thing that is true is that we do everything we can in this exterior, and and we fake it until we make it.
totally.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Fake it till you make it, honey.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And now self-trust. So deep body knowing. So my first thought is, well, body knowing is born into us.
Mm.
And then the doubting mind says, oh, are you sure? That's not, I mean, we're social animals. It's all socialized into us. But the fact of the matter is that it is our bodies that know how to create new human beings. Our minds could never do that, ever. It is our bodies that know how to grow these human beings. It is our body that knows how to birth these babies, and we have to let the mind get out of the way so the body can let these babies come into the world. So if we know how to make human beings, we know a lot more.
It's true.
And imagine that we know, right? So it's trusting in the body, trusting in the we could call it like this deep ancestral memory of all of the billions of women, of humans that have created more human beings. I mean, this memory goes so far back, and and the reason why we have this self-doubt, why we doubt ourselves today, is this self-doubt is a product of the culture that we live in. It is culturally induced. And I would say that that it is this 20th and 21st century life that so deteriorates that kind of self-knowing. And how does this happen? It's just the eternal presence of the screens that are around us. It is the eternal messaging that comes toward us. It is the terms of war that marketers use when they are thinking like how to influence us to buy. Their terms of war are used against us, and we take this in. Particularly as American women, we are taught, from a very early age that, well, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not beautiful enough, we don't feel good enough, and that if we just buy this and this and this and this, if we just keep buying, eventually we will be good enough. I'm sure that happens for men too. I'm less aware of that, but I'm just aware of this barrage of messages that come to American women that we're not enough. And we are enough.
Yeah.
We are the mothers. We are the birthers. We are the creators. We are, we are powerful. And so how is it that we can cultivate this sense of not just enoughness? Enough is good, but a sense of abundance, that we have this abundant knowledge, and that it is given to us in order to share. So how do we go about doing that? Unplug. I know it's hard. I know. I mean, I've been saying this in the 20th century and now in the 21st century, and it's harder now than it was then. And it was already hard then.
Yeah.
But the better we can unplug all out there, the easier to plug in to our own wisdom and our own knowledge. One of the great things to do with your phone is, if you feel like you just need to have it, is to silence it. Put it on silent. No notifications. You just don't get them. Another thing to do is have it lives someplace. There's a shelf that it lives on, and it's turned off. It's on silence, and then you go about your life. Unless you're in the car and you have to go somewhere, you just go about your life, and you're the one in charge. You decide when I'm going to pick it up, when I'm going to notice. How often do you think that there is a real emergency that you need to know about in that instant that it comes in? A couple of times. Sometimes an emergency happens, but emergencies happened before cell phones got the ability to let us know. I mean, so I think untether from the phone. Untether from the phone. This will help us to become tethered to our ancient roots. And what will we learn when we are unplugged and untethered from all of that? First of all, we'll learn it's quiet, and we have to learn how to tolerate quiet. It's with all of the just plain noise that's going on, and also with all of this messaging that we're getting, it's actually our audio sphere is so clogged. And so when we unplug, we find that it's quiet in here. And that's when we can hear what we're saying to ourselves. That's the good opportunity for us to listen to what we're saying to ourselves. So we can unplug. And the other thing that we can do when we're unplugged is just give yourself, I don't know, 4 different times during the day, 4 regular things that you do during the day. And you can write them on a little note and put them on the fridge or the bathroom mirror or something like that. And those are the times during the day that you're going to remember your heart. You could tell yourself you're going to do 3 big breaths. You might just get 1, but those 4 times a day that you get that 1 big breath, that will change everything. That will change your day. When we're in this heart space, breathing, listen to the wisdom of the heart. When you have questions, what should I do? What should I do? You can ask your heart. Your heart will know. At least it will know a first step. It might not know the big picture. Oftentimes wisdom comes on a need to know basis. We just need to know. We just need to know the right next step. Yeah. So listen to the heart. And again, what we started out with is, spend time in nature. We cultivate this deep body knowing that is our very own. We cultivate that by being in nature. It is cultivated in us by nature, because that deep body wisdom, it began here. It began in the green world. All wisdom began in the green world. We inherit, our children. Humanity has inherited wisdom from the plants, from the animals, from the stones. So we go out there and we are taught. We learn wisdom. We learn to trust ourselves when we are in the natural world. All of this, self-care, self-speech, self-trust, all of this rewires the brain. The brain and the heart are one system. We work with the heart breathing. We work with the brain with the self-talk. It's one system. This rewires the whole entire being, who we are. And so the last little piece So now I've said about 12 things, maybe more. Ways, that you can take care of yourself. And if you're writing them down and you have a long list, I would say rip it up quickly, throw it away. And again, see if there's one thing. And if nothing occurs to you, if you just feel like, oh my God, it's just too much, what do I have now? Joy. So if all of these things that Holly and I have been talking about are just too much, joy is not too much. Joy is not too much. So what brings you joy? What is it that brings joy? And I don't mean that kind of excited happiness, and I don't mean, partying. I mean, what brings you, your very own self, that sense of, oh, I'm home. I'm home. I'm safe. I'm taken care of. And here is this amazing life. What brings you that? Singing, playing the piano. Maybe it's doing yoga. Pull out the yoga mat. When your children are right there, they will climb all over you while you're doing your yoga. If you sing, they will be singing with you. And, I mean, whatever it is that gives you great joy, they'll be right there with you. If walking brings you joy, your children are going to walk with you, and you will have the opportunity to walk really slowly and pay attention. Yeah. So joy.
I love that. I love ending on that note, because I was with a group of parents recently where a mother said, all this talk on self-care, it just makes me feel like there's more things I should be doing. And she said to me, and this was there were a lot of babies in the room. There were a lot of things said that morning, but the one thing that she said, I think, was the most potent thing that I'd heard in ages, which was what you just said. She said, I'm just going to do one thing that makes me really happy. And I don't care about the rest, whether that's going to the drive-through Starbucks and getting a latte and then calling my best friend on the phone. I know my husband, he loves country music. So when I would leave him with my little boys, when they were still in diapers, he would turn on the country music and he would sing to his heart's content. And I don't know what happened in the house besides that, but that got him through some really tough times, because he couldn't breastfeed. He he turned on the country music, and so whatever it is. And then the one thing that one thing that I always come back to, one thing I love that makes me so happy, is clean sheets in my bed. So getting in bed at the end of a long day in a clean bed is it's heaven on earth. It's just heaven on earth. So,
and then you get to sleep.
And then I get to sleep. Anyway, thank you, Sharifa. I just so appreciate all that you shared. And
yeah, well, it's such a pleasure to be with you, and to know that your families will get to be with us like this. And what I sort of the last little piece that I would say is that we have the capacity to rewire ourselves. We have the capacity to remake ourselves, and we can do it consciously. And it's just, we have these neural pathways and these habits that may not be supporting us. Yep. And all we need to do is make the decision, and as best we can, turn off the self-talk that's bad and say something nice, not slouch around the house like this, but actually breathe and take care of ourselves. We can change the way that we take care of ourselves, and it's our responsibility.
Yeah,
it's a gift.
It is a gift. Well, thank you.
And this is a gift to get to be with you.
Big hugs. Big hugs, Sharifa.
Big hugs. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to the next conversation.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.